our most popular segments this month centered around the sale of Nazi jewels by the auction house Christie's. As promised, we've stayed on the story and are happy to report many of them sold for less than the estimate. Turns out there are some people in the world who don't want to wear Nazi diamonds. There's also some people who do want to wear Nazi diamonds. The first day of the auction brought in $156 million, above the low estimate of $139 million. To be fair, they weren't Hitler's jewels, but rather the jewels of Heidi Horton, the now dead wife of a Nazi sympathizer and party member, Helmut Horton. Helmut built much of his fortune by buying, aka stealing, Jewish companies in the run-up to World War II. But tonight, we focus not on the person selling the jewels, Heidi, who died, but actually the auction house, Christie's auction house, owned by François Pinault, CEO of the Kering Group. If you have a problem with my French pronunciation, my French teacher did too. But why is this all important? Because the Kering Group also owns the fashion brand Balenciaga, who enjoys an unusually close relationship with ads involving children and teddy bears in bondage outfits, and was known back in November for using child porn legal cases to advertise its purses. It's an unusual place, the Kering Group. Jen Smith's here. She investigates the Kering Group for other things for the Daily Mail and is the chief reporter for dailymail.com. Newly engaged, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Jen. You know, I guess if you don't really have a problem with cozying up to child porn, right, and teddy bears in bondage, Nazi jewels isn't that far of a leap.
Well, I mean, you might not think that it would be a leap for some people, but clearly François Pinault is a morally bankrupt but very cash-rich man, Leland. This auction, I mean, $156 million in one day is what they brought in. It was above what they were expecting, even though you pointed out rightly that some of the big ticket items sold for less. Now, it was less, but it was still tens of millions of dollars for rubies and diamonds that were bought with money that came from an empire plundered from Jewish families who had to flee Germany. I mean, the problems with this and with this group are just everywhere, it seems.
Yeah, well, it is the French, okay? So, I mean, we know what they did during World War II, so it's perhaps, sometimes it's it is a bar, but there you go. But I think about these jewels, right? And women wear diamonds, not necessarily for men, but for other women, right? And you think about the Roulette of India diamond necklace, estimated to sell between $10 and $15 million, sold for $7. Mm-hmm. Harry Winston diamond tiara, you can see there. All right. Are we going to ever figure out, A, who bought them, and B, is there going to be a backlash to these are one-of-a-kind pieces, right, of people who are wear them? Are we going to see pictures of these people named and shamed if they ever wear them out to a party?
Look, I mean, auction houses like Christie's and Sotheby's, they do a very good job of keeping their very rich customers anonymous, and it's for reasons like this. Well, obviously, people don't want to walk around saying, hey, I'm wearing the most expensive diamond in the world, come and rob my house. But in this scenario, I think there's plenty of other reasons why someone might not want to fess up to wearing Nazi-owned and purchased diamonds. So probably not, no. And we're definitely not going to be able to rely on Christie's and the Kering Group to hand those people over. I mean, there was backlash in the run-up to this auction. It's still going on, by the way. It lasts online for a few more days yet. There was backlash. We had groups in Europe and in America, Jewish Holocaust memorial museums, saying don't let this happen, or at the very least give us all of the proceeds of these sales. What did Christie's do? They said, well, we'll just give a portion of our profits, not the actual profits from the sale, and they thought that that was enough.
We've seen in America, right, this huge interest in corporate responsibility. We can argue whether or not it actually has meant real responsibility, but there's at least been an attempt at it.
There's a trend, yes.
Yeah. But that trend doesn't seem to be in France, which loves to talk about how liberal and enlightened and educated and accepting they are, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, look, when you're talking about European consumers, everything's a little bit more hush-hush private. This Balenciaga scandal that you and I discussed at length last year really was a nightmare for them. I mean, to really be called out on things is very much not the status quo, especially not in France. Everything's meant to be very sophisticated, very quiet. Nobody likes to air their dirty laundry in public.
Well, that's why we have the Daily Mail and Jen Smith on the case. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.